Students, now I am going to explain this first poem of your text, The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. This well-known poem is about making choices and choices that shape us. Robert Frost is an American poet who writes simply but insightfully about common ordinary experiences. We'll begin with the introduction of the poem. In the poem, The Road Not Taken, the road symbolizes our life. The poet says that the path that we don't choose in our life is the road not taken. Hereby it is titled as The Road Not Taken. That means the path which we have not taken. He describes his feelings about that choice that he had left in the past. The path which we have chosen decides our future, our destination. The important message that the poet wants to give is that the choice that we make has an impact on our future, and if we make a wrong choice, we regret it but cannot go back on it. So we must be wise while making choice. Here the road means the choice. Let us look at the first stanza. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Here, diverged means going in two different directions. Two roads here means two options, because the poet is comparing these two roads with the two options that we get in life. In life, we also get many choices or options. So the poet is also comparing these two roads with the two options, and he says that when he was walking in the yellow wood, he comes across two roads that was going in two different directions. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Yellow wood here means forest, and yellow perhaps the leaves of the trees turned yellow, and it was autumn season. And he says, sorry, I could not travel both. Looking at both the roads, he felt sorry because he could not travel both the roads. And be one traveler, because he was the only traveler. He could not travel both the roads. So this was the situation, this was the problem that he faced, and he was in a state of he was in a state of dilemma, or in a state of confusion. Long I stood. So he stood there for a long time and looked at both the roads, and he looked at the first road and looked down one as far as I could, as far as his eyes could reach. First road, when he looked at, he saw that road was bending in the undergrowth. Bent here means curved. It was curved, and undergrowth means the bushes and trees. Now let us discuss literary devices used in this stanza. First, rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme is what? The rhyming words that sound similar. So here we can see the last words of each line: would, stood, could, both, undergrowth. They are sounding same. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, A, B. Another literary device used by the poet in this is anaphora. Anaphora. Anaphora is used to when any phrase is repeated or used in the beginning of the first sentence or verse. So here also we can see in line number 2, 3 and 4 this and word is used. So here the poet has used anaphora. Another figure of speech used by the poet in this stanza is visual imagery. Visual imagery is when you read the lines, when you read like two roads diverged in a yellow wood and looked down one as far as I could, where it bent in the undergrowth, the scene is created in your mind. So when the picture comes in front of your eyes and the scene is created, it is visual imagery. So the poet has also used visual imagery. Now two roads, the poet has compared two roads with the two options. So it is a metaphor also. M-E-T-A-P-H-O-R, metaphor. What is metaphor? Metaphor is when we compare two things with their quality, with any quality. So here two roads are compared with two options. Now moving forward, look at the second stanza. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now he looked at the other road. First road, when he looked at, he saw that it was straight road. It was bent after some time. It was bent in the undergrowth. And then he looked at the other road. It was also as beautiful as the first road, just as fair. That he is trying to compare the first road with the other road. And what he saw, that the second road was also beautiful as the first road, and having perhaps the better claim. He thought that the second road was better for him, and it was quite challenging also. So he looked at the second road, and it was grassy and wanted wear. He also saw that the second road was full of grass and it wanted wear. Wanted wear means it needed to be used by someone. It seemed as if it was not traveled by many. And the first road seemed to be clear, and it seemed as if it was used by many frequent travelers. So this difference we can found in both the roads. Though as far for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. But after walking some distance, he found that both the roads looked equally, because both the roads were used by the travelers. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now this way, the poet, after looking at both the roads, he chose the second road, and he looked at the both the roads, and both the roads were equally ready for him. In leaves no step had trodden black, and it seemed that that morning no one had used those roads, because nobody stepped on the leaves kept on the roads. Oh, I kept the first for another day. So he thought that he would choose the second road and he would keep the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, yet he knows how one way leads on to another way, because he is not sure whether he would be able to come back and choose the another road. So that's why he says, I doubted if I should ever come back, because one road leads on to many other ways. So he doubts if he would be able to come back and choose the first one. Now look at the literary devices used in these two stanzas. The first line of the second stanza, just as fair. In this line, the poet has used simile, because he has compared both the roads by using the word as. So simile is when we compare two things by using the word as or like. So here the poet has compared just as fair. The first road looked just as beautiful as the second road. He has also used alliteration here. Alliteration means repetition of the consonant sound in the same line at short interval. So here the consonant sound is repeated. We can see wanted were, were. So this were sound is repeated here. So it is alliteration here. Alliteration. Now in the second line also we can find that here also the sound is repeated. The, though, the, that, the and the. So here also the sound is repeated, so it is also alliteration. In the rhyme scheme, if we see the words fair, where, there, they sound same. Claim, same, sound same. So the rhyme scheme will be same as it was for the first stanza. A, B, A, B. Now this third stanza, if we look at the rhyme scheme, lay, day, way, black, back, A, B, A, B. Now moving on to the next stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, and somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. The poet says that when he would reach to the end of his destination, and he would be telling this with a sigh. With a sigh here means both, maybe perhaps with happiness or with sorrow. Perhaps he would succeed by choosing that road, or perhaps he would not be able to reach to the desired destination. Somewhere ages and ages hence means somewhere in the future, when he would get the success, or perhaps he would not get the desired success, he would feel sorrow or he would feel happy by choosing that road. And then he would say that once he came across two roads in a wood, and he took the one less travelled by, and he took the road that was less travelled by the travellers, and that has made all the difference. The difference may be his success or maybe his failure. So here the poet says that whatever choices we make in our life, we have to be very careful, because whatever decision and the choice which we make, we cannot go back and change it. So we must be very careful about this. Now the literary devices in the last stanza here also, then the second line, if we see ages and ages words are repeated, so it is repetition here. And the rhyme scheme, sigh, I, by, again they sound same, hence difference, A, B, A, B. So with this poem, what message we get? That we have in life, we also get many options and many choices, but we must be very careful about choosing and taking decision, because one choice or one decision can make our life and can mar our life, can spoil our life. So we must be very, very careful regarding our choices in life. Now let us look at the question answers we'll discuss. Now the first question: where does the traveler find himself? What problem does he face? Where does the traveler find himself? He finds himself in a yellow wood. What problem does he face? He faces the problem that he comes across two roads in a yellow wood, and he was unable to decide which road to take. Now discuss the phrases mean by a yellow wood. A yellow wood here means a yellow forest, or perhaps the leaves of the trees have turned yellow because of autumn season. It was grassy and wanted wear. The second road which the poet looked at was grassy and wanted wear. It wanted somebody to walk on it. The passing there means the passer by. Leaves no step had trodden black means that morning both the roads were looking equally beautiful, and no one had walked on them. That's why the leaves have not turned black. They were still green. How way leads on to way? This is the fact that one way leads on to many other ways. Is there any difference between the two roads as the poet describes them in stanzas 2 and 3? Look at the stanza 2. Is there any difference? Stanza 2 and 3. He says that there was not much difference between both the roads. Both the roads were equally beautiful and both the roads were equally challenging for the poet. But the first road was frequently travelled by the travellers and the second road was less travelled by the travellers. And this can also be the difference we find in both the roads. In the last two lines of the poem, we find the difference between the roads. Last two lines of the poem, we find that once he chose the second road, he says that he doubted if he would be able to come back and choose the first road which he had not taken. And once he would reach to the destination, he would ponder over the decision that he had taken that had made all the difference in his life. What do you think the last two lines of the poem mean? Looking back, does the poet regret his choice or accept it? Here we are not sure whether he was regretting or accepting it. Both the cases it is correct, because the poet is saying that it can be a feeling of happiness or it can be a feeling of sorrow. Once he reached to the desired destination, he may get the desired success or he may not get the desired success. So the last two lines of the poem mean that once whatever choices we make in life and reach, when we go in our future, when we find whatever we have chosen for us, if it would give us the desired success, we are happy. But if we are not able to get what we want, what we desire for, we cannot repent for it, we cannot regret and go back and change our decision. Have you ever had to make a difficult choice? How will you make the choice? Now this question is based on this student's views, so you'll have to write this yourself. Now, so this we have come to the end of this poem.